Hello. I am going to update Twitter quickly, and then we can have a fun little chat. We are live. I haven't done one of these since Thanksgiving, and that was a whole. Not that many people saw it because obviously they were celebrating with their families, so on and so forth. So I thought it's about dang time for me to do another one of these. This chair's at an angle. It's interesting. Huh. Or maybe it's not interesting at all. I want to update you on some stuff, but first, a word from our sponsor, which is Sheath Underwear. I love Sheath Underwear. I'm a Sheath Underwear model. The great thing about Sheath, they have a Matrix-inspired one. They've got a pouch for both parts of your male and ad. I'll show you guys what the pouch looks like. I will show the outside. So here's what the pouch looks like. You see that? So it's awesome. If you go to sheathunderwear.com, use promo code malice20, you get 20% off, and you could support the underwear that supports you. So, and a pair of underwear that I designed is going to be dropping soon. So that's going to be really cool. I think next month. Let me see. We got a question already. I read The Fountainhead last year and will read Atlas Shrugged tomorrow. Thank you for introducing me to this woman and her life-changing vampire novels. Thank you for not making fun of my insane hair at this moment. And thank you, Ken. I love you even more. I wanted to tell you guys, I don't even know what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give you an update on the white pill, which has been very, very, very difficult to write. But when something is difficult to write, that means well, it doesn't always mean this. It means this for me, that the product is going to be good because my goal is to have as much content as possible. So right now I'm at the part, should I read some of it? Maybe I should in a second. Is Tom Wood's big announcement what his favorite thing about Michael Malice is? It is not. What's your favorite joke? That's a great question. That is a great question. If you go to the new right, there's a page of like inappropriate jokes. There's a lot of good ones in there. I am scared that Sheath Underwear will twist my boys if I move wrong. Can you promise me that I won't end up like Lance Armstrong? I promise you that you will never end up successful and admired, regardless of your underwear. Yaron Brooks said today, it's unfortunate that Joe Rogan is being used as a tool to spread bad ideas. Isn't Joe Rogan much more independent than Brooke? You could be independent and spread bad ideas. I mean, there's lots of, like every loon with their basement typewriters independent. And I don't know what bad ideas Yaron's referring to. And I'm a little surprised because Yaron is very, very bright. So I would think he would understand that when it comes to misinformation, you're going to find it more often from corporate media outlets than from Rogan's program. Malice, when are you getting a Tesla truck? Keep up the great work. Oh, God. So let me tell you that story behind that photo. I'll do that in a second. I'll just catch up here. I'm wearing the camo sheath so you can't see my huge hog. Yeah, story of my life. Marry me. Sure. What are they doing? Repeats already? Michael, you look you look sleepy. Did you stay up all night watching Hellraiser, the greatest movie of all time? I wasn't watching it. I was living it. Jesus wept. What's your favorite Norm Macdonald joke? I gotta say, there's a couple of I know this is like me avoiding one of my polls, but him on The View was superb, and also that bit he did about if when he was hosting Weekend Update. I can't even say it because I'll get banned from YouTube. But it's basically like, the thing that I would hate the most about being in prison is the loss of my freedom and independence. And then I realized, no, it would be the rear end sexual assault. Hi, Michael. I know it isn't much. No one owes me anything. Don't apologize. You know what I look at? If someone gives me $5, how I look at it, it's you're at a bar and someone buys you a beer. That's so flattering. So you don't owe me money. Oh, you're one of the few reasons I'm still here today. Wow, that's great to hear. Thank you so much. If I saved your life, $10. I've had a rough day. Thankful to find you streaming tonight. This is for the Iran impression. Anarchist Handbook hardcover update. All my updates will be on malice.locals.com, and you can filter it from my posts. So literally, as soon as there's any updates, they're going to be updated there. Oh, I do have one update to tell you guys. So Lawson & Co., who makes worry coins, I carry around one with me all the time. He made one of this with a Camus one for me as a pay no attention to my nail clubbing. How do I do this? Here comes boomer time. I have no idea how to do it. God damn it. Okay, anyway, the point is we're making a coin with Louis Ling on it to carry around, and when you get worried, you can rub it and feel his strength and get rejuvenated. So those will be on malice.locals.com as well. Nope, no updates in the last second. I've been following you for a bit. Now I'm the friendly neighborhood anarchist. Thank you for all you do. The next step is becoming the angry neighborhood anarchist. That's the trick. Here's $5 to get a table at a thrift store to put your trinkets on in the background. Say right there. Well, I can't get up because I'm in sweatpants and I can't have that, but there's a table behind me with trinkets on it. Ali Alaralala. Sounds Jewish. What you think about Jordan Peterson with Rogan Podcast promoting the Bible as the first book of West civilization, and Chip, which is Match Humanity Intelligent, that Jordan Peterson friend work on? This sounds like when Charlie Kelly writes on Always Sunny. I haven't watched the podcast. I don't watch podcasts because I get frustrated. And I don't like listening to people. That's not how I process information, really. But Jordan's great. Joe's great. Did you know? I did not know this. I don't have beef with Scott. That's very nice of him. Okay, well, that's great to know. That's awesome. Wow, that's very, very classy. That's appreciated, and he did and unnecessary. Shoulder muscles looking good. Found a gym in Austin. Golds, which sucks. It sucks. It absolutely. I don't like it at all. My penance, forgive my sins. Went to a party. Butter passing robots. Who are you people? Went to a party today. Made the mistake of responding to political argument with a blue pill person. Pro tip: don't tell an awful they're neurotic. Looking forward to the white pill. Let me give you a real pro tip. I'm assuming that's really your picture and you're an attractive female. If you don't tell them they're neurotic, ask them do they think that the medication they're on might have a possibility of informing their political perspective. Just as if I were perhaps someone with cancer who is being bankrupted by my bills, I might be more in favor of what single payer healthcare. Don't you think that maybe your mental medication might be influencing how you see things? Then they'll really put on a good show for you. So that's the pro tip. You are welcome. Do you say have a catch or play catch? I've never even heard the expression have a catch. So it would definitely be play catch. 75 days until I'm free from the military. Wow. Okay. So I have another. Hold on a second. I have one police badge here from a cop who I convinced to hang it up. And I'm going to have a nice wall of all the souls I've saved. So I would appreciate that immensely. It would mean a lot to me. What do you like best about you? What I like best about him, in all seriousness, is the name Harbinger, because the first comic book I bought when I started collecting comics was Crisis on Infinite Earths #1. Harbinger was the protagonist. Why haven't I ever seen you do any work with Larkin Rose? Because it doesn't exist. I saw on your Goodreads list that you read Jason Brennan When All Else Failed. What did you think? In any chance he'll be a guest on your welcome? I almost never have libertarians on your welcome unless I'm personally friends with them. And the issue I have with "You're welcome" is if someone isn't a big name, and this is no disrespect to Jason at all, my views are like half. It's entirely dependent on the guest, and this is very frustrating because as part of my show, I do want to use that little platform I have to make people who might otherwise be unknown um, reach a broader audience. At the same time, there's this enormous disincentive against it. So this is something I struggle with, and I don't think I have a good answer or a comb. Are you doing this stream because of Whimsy and Ink's post and locals? I am not. I'm doing this stream because I haven't done one in a while and I had a free day today. Here you go. Please don't spend it. Mexican going 10 times. Thank you, Miguel Frigno. It's the Mexican Hulk. Ay caramba. The more insanity I observe in government and society, the more I agree with your anarchist points of view. Let me be pedantic. It's not insanity. If you read Dear Reader, the North Korean book, there is a perfect internal logic to what they're doing. I feel Biden is slow to transform into Skeletor. Go to Skeletor is the coolest person ever. Do you think Officer Harris will be sent to the Supreme Court? I don't. I don't think they would do it. You know the Canucks are pissed when they're doing a truck protest. Yeah, and kudos to those people over there. Michael, thanks for making thanks for making my fiance concerned. Your name is Storm? That is so cool. Thanks for making my fiance concerned that I listen to an anarchist, but more importantly, breaking my rigid idea of laws. That is the best misspelling of rigid I have ever seen. I really love I was a spelling bee champion. I love it when you know how when kids use logic and they put two and two together and it's really hilarious because they're actually being smart. They just have very limited information. So I love it when people don't know how to spell a word, but you can see the logic in terms of how they misspelled it. And that actually makes sense to spell rigid that way. Although this could be just, autocorrect or voice to text, of course. On it has a gym in Austin. Oh God, that's white people stuff. I hate that white people stuff. I can't deal with it. That's the worst. Oh God, I think there's a start and stretch gym in Austin. No. The reason I go to Golds is because they're hours. They're open till 11 during the week and only like 7 on weekends. And they're fairly close to me. So, any predictions for the midterms? Yes, this is going to sound like a cop out, but this is my real answer. I predict it's going to be absolutely hilarious. Because some of us are gray hairs. Some of us are old enough to remember 2016 and the complete meltdown. I'm old enough to remember 94 when the Republicans took over Congress for the first time in 40 years. And Dan Rather, they didn't know what to do. They were like, So when this happens, we're going to be hearing a lot of, oh my God, this is the end of democracy. Everyone's going to die of COVID and climate change. And it's going to be like Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy's your big villain, really. Just got the new audiobook. Can't wait to listen. Do you think you will narrate the white pill yourself? There's 2 possibilities for narrating the white pill. It's either going to be me or it's going to be Lauren Chen. I haven't even asked her because she did such a good job with her chapter in the audiobook. I think she really would read it very well. She connotes emotion, or not connotes. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Projects emotion extremely well. And I think a female voice for a book of hope might make a lot more sense. And also because she feels as intensely as I do, and her eyes are, as open to the evils of government, which I think many people in the West are somewhat naive to. And yes, that was a racist subtext. Although I didn't mean it at the time, but I caught it later. You and Dave are the goats. Thank you. Well, if we're the goats, why do you have the Constitution as a user pick? Come on, man. Come on, man. Thank you, Michael, for showing me the path to free my mind and myself. I will be eternally grateful. Thank you. You did the work. So thank yourself. Buy yourself something nice. Okay. You stopped me going through. Good. Oh, this is. I gotta tell you, I should be doing these more often because first I see the question, okay, and then I see the usernames and the pics, and they make me laugh. You stopped me going through life as an angry cynic, and I haven't felt better in years. Thanks for all you do. Can't wait for the white pill. This is the thing. Like I don't mean you specifically, Mr. R word. There's so much great stuff happening that you owe it to yourselves to be like, why am I miserable? Maybe I could be a little less miserable. You can. It's not that hard, but it takes a commitment. And it also, a lot of us are raised to be cynical. That's the thing. So, you know how some people are like overweight all the way through high school, and in their heads, like, I'm just going to be a fat guy. Or I mean, for me, it was like, I'm just going to be skinny. And then at a certain point, it's like, what would happen if I like exercised a little more or ate a little less? Or in my case, ate a little more, exercised a little more. Things do change. So it's like, what if sometimes I secretly allowed myself to like things and not sneer at myself for liking them? Why is my chair such an angle? This feels so crazy. I don't understand. Is the camera an angle? I don't understand what's going on here. Is there beef between you and Gavin McInnes? And if so, fix it. I wouldn't say there's beef. I just it's a whole long backstory. What do you like best about Blair White? Blair, I can't let's answer this seriously. What I like best about Blair White. Okay, this is what's fun about hanging out with Blair White. Blair is the perfect improv conversationalist. You know how improv, the first rule is yes and, right? So if you throw out something to a good improv person, they're going to hit it back and add to it. So when you talk to her, you throw out something, she'll be there with you. So you could change the conversation. You could follow her lead. It's just really, really fun. Just sitting around and just shooting the crap. It's so much fun. What's your favorite book older than 100 years? Ooh, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. Is it The Ego in His Own? It could be The Ego in His Own. 1922. I'm going to go with The Ego in His Own for now. I can't think of anything else. If you go to my Goodreads, by the way, goodreads.com, and sort, you could see the 5-star books I've given. That might be it. I'm going to put that for now. Please have Dave Landau back. That was awesome. Well, that's a no-brainer. Dave and I are buddies. I adore him. We are good friends. And by when I say good friends, I mean we have had conversations about intimate things. Huge fan, Master Fletcher. See, this is what I mean. I'm currently in art design school learning user experience design. I don't know what that means. To break big tech from the inside. Good. Subversion is the ways of my people. Is Putin a good guy or a bad guy? He's a bad guy. Like, period. He's a very bad person. He's also funny. He's also very bright. Your hair looks good, wavy. I don't know, man. I'm not loving it. When are you going on a date to the Russia house? Many flavored vodkas. I don't drink, and I went through a flavored vodka rabbit hole. Thoughts on the right doting on Viktor Orban's Hungary, especially with people like Peter Thiel sponsoring this idea of national conservatism? Well, I think I've mentioned Orban specifically in the New Right. I think this is very good strategy in the sense of providing a emotion-driven alternative to progressivism, which I think American conservatism really does not. It's very hard to read the National Review, for example, and be like, all right, let's do this and become a brawler, which I think the left is very, very good, specifically progressives are very, very good at motivating their people to do. I don't think Viktor Orban's particularly a great person. I think, but the way they're painting him out to be a Nazi, he's opposed to the Jobbik Party. The Jobbik Party really are the neo-Nazis. And what they're not telling you in corporate media outlets is all of the other parties in Hungary have merged into like an opposition group to fight Viktor Orban's Fidesz party, but that literally means the neo-Nazis. And I'm not using this in an American sense. These are like the people who are the descendants of, those who were sympathetic to Nazism. And they're going to say that they toned it down, which is true. They're not literally, but whatever. You look at their logo. They're teaming up with the Green Party and the leftists. They just want to get him out so bad. So who should be more condemned? Orban or the guys who are literally in a coalition with the Jobbik Party? Have you ever heard of Vaush? Would you be willing to go? Of course, I've heard of Vaush. He's trended a few times. I'm not familiar with him at all. Would you be willing to go on Tim's show to have a conversation with a YouTube socialist? Sure. I would have to depend on how annoying the person is. But you're all a bunch of socialists as far as I'm concerned. Do you have a regular routine? Do you have any advice for laziness? Yes, I've got great advice because I'm very lazy. So my advice is, if you are doing something, that's going to take a lot of willpower on a daily basis, you're screwed. And then it becomes like, well, I gave up today. I might as well just toss in the towel. So if you just commit to, for 15 minutes every day, I'm going to do push-ups. Let's just pretend that. Or I'm going to write. You don't have an excuse. If you're about to go to bed, okay, I'm going to go to bed. I'll go to bed in 15 minutes. I'll do it now. And that's something you commit to. And then your brain is thinking, wait a minute, I'm not lazy anymore because I've stuck through this for a month. And now your image of yourself changes, and it's going to be that. So it's a process, in my opinion. Thanks for Count Dankula. Wasn't that such a fun episode? I just had him on You're Welcome this week. I am so excited because tomorrow on You're Welcome, a recording, I have Kenny Hotz, who's one of my troll models, and it's going to be so great. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. When are you taking When are you taking Lex on a date to the Russia house? Manny flavored vodkas. Lex, robots need alcohol. Why do you not like libertarians? I can't think, because they are very good at, they are very low on empathy, in the sense of they're very bad at being persuasive toward people who are not them. They're also usually, their entire worldview is based on politics. Now, people know me, of course, through anarchism, so on and so forth. But when I'm hanging out with my friends, we're not talking the Federal Reserve or Emma Goldman. But people can't seem to wrap their heads around that. Like, I did a book with, an MMA fighter, and the fans think he's just walking around getting into fights all the time. He goes to the gym, he does his work, and then they all of them, they sit at home, they're watching sitcoms, they're messing, cracking jokes. It's not that way. Bring Rollo Tomasi onto your show. I'm not. Is he the guy who did Rational Mail? How do I know if I'm an NPC? NPCs, you're not an NPC. NPCs don't wonder if they're NPCs. I came from nothing with a family of addicts, but I want to raise kids that will change the world. Could I be an NPC while my kids are main characters? NPCs don't want to change the world. They don't want to make choices. Everything you're saying is the exact opposite of being an NPC. When what kind of letters are those? And what kind of money is that? When will you have Ted Kaczynski on your podcast? As soon as he starts returning my calls. I just turned 17. See, Biden and then Alex, who I'm having dinner with on Tuesday, by the way. I just turned 17. I'm kind of scared for the future of the country, even more so with this ridiculous Ukraine conflict. I'm trying to save up a couple of bucks so I can get out of Virginia and head down to Texas. Don't be scared. You're young. Here's the thing. If you're in a much better position than me, because you got nothing to lose. So if things really hit the fan, it'll be easy for you to be poor and hungry. It's not going to be easy for like soft old me. So relish your youth. Take this opportunity to be the best person you can be. And don't worry about America. You can't help it and you can't destroy it at your age. But what you can do is put the mechanisms in place to be a quality person, 5-10 years down the road. Have you ever noticed when Eric Weinstein sounds like Robert Stadler? Love both the brothers, but his call for intervention and funding in science makes me cringe a little. I don't think that that is, as far as political positions go, as bad as things can get. You know what I mean? If we took out, 500 billion from military or some of these other things and put it into, I'm convincing myself out of it because I'd be like, no, no, those things would become corrupt. It's not actually a bad idea. But I think Eric at bottom believes in the system, and I think his point would be, um, if we're going to spend the money, let's spend the money on something that's going to help a lot of people. And certainly, it's indisputable that science helps a lot of people in research. So I would kind of steelman his position in that regard. Trudeau has ligma and is isolating the states. Love from Ottawa, baby. That's interesting picture choice. Interesting picture choice. Thank you, Will. Michael, do you believe in nominative determinism? Well, I believe in Googling it just to be sure what you mean by it. But I'm, in general, not a fan of determinism at all. Nominative determinism is a hypothesis that people tend to gravitate towards area of work which reflect their names. Oh, this is interesting. This is really interesting. I never heard of this. So Freud, the idea was suggested by Carl Jung. Freud, who studied pleasure and whose surname means joy. I don't think this. I don't believe in this. No. Thank you for the support, Charlie. Your positivity. Whoa, 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 whoa. Look at this. This is amazing. Your positivity has been valuable to me. I was depressed for a long time. I've lost 295 pounds over the last 2 years. P.S. Home gym. Way to go, Toots. Good. Man, you don't have to. Is this Lisa's sock account? Great for you. That is so great. That is so great. And I wish you please tweet at me what you did, because that might, and I'll retweet it because that might help other people. Because I'm sure in your head you thought I'm always going to be 500 pounds or 600, whatever I am. And you know what? You saved your life. My friend Eric, who I dedicated the Anarchist Handbook to, he had, I've mentioned this many times. He had, morbid obesity for a large part of his life, and he died in his 40s, which I think was part of his family's genetics, to be fair. But good for you. Good for you. That is just absolutely wonderful. What do lefties think is the motivation of the misinformation spreaders? God, they don't think, and they don't think it's misinformation. They just think there's bad people who do bad things, or racism. Do they think these JRE guests just want to kamikaze their career? No. They think bad people spread lies. That's literally the extent of it. Or they want attention. They have no empathy, and they're taught to not have empathy, meaning seeing things from other people's perspectives, since kindergarten. I saw you when you came to Dallas with Lou Perez, and I figured I'd be able to fanboy and annoy you at Skankfest, and I missed the chance to shake your hand. Whatever. Okay. I love Lou. He's really a real talent. Just an amazing guy. Jill Whitehead absolutely adores you. Let's find out who that is. If this is a troll, that's pretty funny. I don't know who that is. Oh, is this I'm looking up Jill. There's a murderer named Jill Whitehead. So if this is a troll, you got me. Hey, Michael, would you consider having Alexander Bard on the podcast? I don't know who that is either. Let's find him out. I was going to do a stream and read from the White Pill, but there's so many questions here. He doesn't follow me. I don't know who this guy is. Well, I like his views. His top 2 tweets are pretty awesome. Opinion on the Russia and Ukraine situation. I think it's I don't know very much about it, so I'm completely talking out of my ass. But when has that stopped me before? Um, I think I would remember I was in the green room at Fox with. I'm completely blanking her name. She was one of Trump's early appointees who got kicked out of office when they got rid of Flynn. She was supposed to be the ambassador to Singapore. And I've always been a fan of hers, and I completely forgot. I'm sorry. Crap. What was her name? KT McFarland. Yeah. I was in the green room of Fox. This is 2016, 17, with KT McFarland, and or no, this must have been before because this is during Obama. And she was making the point that Obama's weakness is going to encourage Putin to invade Ukraine. And obviously that didn't happen. And Putin is no dummy. And he is someone who will push his advantage anywhere he can. So I'm very disturbed to see what's happening. I think this is a testament to him gambling, probably correctly, that Biden's not going to do anything. Someone who was born in Ukraine and is about to, who's writing in the White Pill right now about the Holodomor, this does not sit well with me at all. Any plans for a podcast with Yaron and Lex? I watched the old one 4 times already. Well, Yaron went on my show after. So if you look up Yaron Brook, you're welcome. There was a follow-up, which was really fun. Mr. Grayman Michael, thank you for what you do. Now tell everyone that cities are trash and to move out to the country. Well, I'm in a city. I don't think cities are trash inherently. And I don't think I think ruralism have a lot of major disadvantages. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Don't say your mom. Don't say your mom. Don't say your mom. Your dad? Monthly cocaine budget in US dollars, preferably. I do not like I don't understand how people like cocaine. I don't get it at all. At all. In fact, I interviewed Belinda Carlisle, the singer from the Go-Go's, many years ago, and she talked about her memoir about being a cokehead. And I was like, if a guy's a musician, is a cokehead, he's having, he's doing it with all those groupies. They're having a big party. But a female, you can't do that. What would you do? And she said she would take the phone off the hook, cover the blinds in her hotel room, and pace like an animal. And I go, that sounds like a lot of fun. She goes, yeah, it was a total blast. And that's when you know someone's an addict. Oh, Adrian Curry. How do I pray the gay away? Oh, you mean gray, right? Or does she mean gay? Asking for my ex-husband. Are you throwing shade at is this what happened with Mike Brady? Did Mike get to him? Did Mike turn him? Oh, wow. Ooh. Top 3 favorite books and topics other than politics and philosophy. Oh, I don't know. I can't think of that off the top of my head. Go to my Goodreads. As a 17-year-old libertarian, you are a hero, Michael. What do I have to do to get the Twitter follow? Maybe become an adult. You are the best. I rarely follow people because I don't even look at my feed mostly in my mentions. Who is the big name that has enough cultural clout to really hurt Rogan? I saw Nicole Hannah-Jones called him out today for years of open racism. Does she have the clout to scare Spotify? I don't think anyone has. I don't know. I'm not privy to Spotify's internal conversations, of course. I mean, I don't know because the people who Rogan's audience, when you're self-made like Joe is, like if I'm Anderson Cooper and like Don Lemon came out at me, I'd be in a problem because he's my coworker at CNN. And Jeff Zucker, I have to answer to. Joe doesn't have to answer to anybody. And he got there through his talent and through building his audience. So it'd be one thing if maybe like a big guest, like if Jordan Peterson denounced Joe, that would hurt him, right? But if it's someone outside that kind of intellectually curious space, I don't see how that would happen. I really don't, because Joe, he's not Sean Hannity. He's not Maddow. He doesn't have his show. And it's like, this is what I think and blah, blah, blah. And they're destroying America. He has everyone on. And most of the shows aren't about politics at all. Can you say a sentence Ukrainian, please? I don't speak Ukrainian. I'm sorry. What is the text on your Camus worry coin? It says, that's a great question. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. How much for a live stream playthrough of BioShock? It's never going to happen. I'm too old to know those game dynamics. Can you clarify something? Did you say Gavin pushed you? What's up with that? Yeah, I was going to Compound Media one day and he was coming out of the building and he had asked me to do his show and I couldn't or wouldn't. I don't remember which one it was. And he just physically shoved me. He's like, and he called me an effing ingrate. And it's like, okay, cool. It's not like I was hurt. And I don't think he was trying to hurt me, to be fair. Thank you for keeping me sane. I'm one of many you've given hope to. You genuinely convinced me that good will win. God bless. All I have to convince you is that good can win. And if good can win, you have no excuse, or maybe you do, so I can't speak for everybody, to be like, well, I'm going to go home. What's your most favorite things about Texas? I can't speak on Texas. I can only speak on Austin. What I like here a lot is how collegial everyone is. There's a lot of people who are making it happen here. And when you meet someone, at least the circles I travel in, right away, you're like, there's a friendliness that's sincere. And it's not like in New York where you have to wonder, who is this person? Are they going to be annoying? Are they going to be, this is very fake. LA's even worse. They're friendly to your face and they go on Twitter. It's like, oh, I felt so uncomfortable. That's none of that here. And that's a real big change. And I didn't realize how bad it was till I left it. Oh man, I'm way okay. Why are people servish, slavish, and submissive? Because human beings have co-evolved with dogs. Hammerhead sharks can save electromagnetics and change the water pressure via hairs on their backs. Do you think that's how you know someone is watching you? Well, I know someone's watching me from the view counter. To see how Victoria, Australia fell into COVID totalitarianism, watch Battleground Melbourne by Topher Field. It's on YouTube. Okay, good advice. I'm excited to hear you having Kenny Hotz on. Unfortunately, I grew up watching Kenny vs. Spenny. Also, would you consider having Mark Dice on the show? Oh, that would be a no-brainer. Mark's a funny guy. The Spotify Rogan controversy seems like a huge red pill opportunity. I don't think it is per se. I think it's a regular red pill opportunity. Any ETN getting Yarvin on again. Nothing planned, but me and Curtis talk irregularly, but regularly enough that we stay in touch. The Yaron impression made me giggle. Thanks. Why all these guys use a girl username and pick? It's so confusing to me. Okay, are we almost caught up? What has Rogan told you in private in regard to Neil Young? Nothing. That's the thing. So the picture I used for this live stream, Michaela Peterson and I are pretty close. And by pretty close, I mean, like I said about Dave Lando earlier, we had very kind of personal conversations with each other. We have a level of trust that you wouldn't just have someone at a random party. And so I went to see Jordan. I was backstage with her, talked to him for a bit. James Damore came, which was really fun to talk to him because he's pretty high on the spectrum. So I was making some jokes and he wasn't getting them, but he seemed like a real cool dude. And then Joe showed up. And then afterwards, we went to the Tesla factory where I took that photo. And the whole time I'm there with like Rogan and Jordan Peterson and Elon, I don't ever get starstruck, but I do get imposter syndrome because I'm standing there. I'm like, I shouldn't be in this room. I'm scared to talk to anybody. Am I allowed to take pictures? What am I allowed to do? I only posted that pic on my Instagram after Joe posted pictures of that truck on his Instagram. Then I saw, okay, it's safe to post this picture. But when I'm around these people, not Joe really, but I'm just like very Soviet. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. Like you shouldn't be here. So it's kind of funny seeing me in my insecurity, which almost never ever happens. How's the driving going? I have decided that I'm only going to learn how to drive once I finish the white pill, because whenever I finish a book, and this is not all unique to me, I get postpartum depression, because the most important thing in your life, something that your brain is working on the background 24/7, is no longer there, and then your brain doesn't know what to do with itself. So that will be my next project after that. What's your favorite firearm? I'm getting a very cool special one, custom, which I will tell you about when it happens. Hey, Michael, do you have any advice on how to deal with anger? That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know that I have good advice, because Russians don't get angry. We're very, very cold-blooded. Um, uh, I would break it down to steps. First of all, you could probably make yourself angry if you're someone who's quick to deal with anger. So then first I would figure out how do I know I'm getting angry? And then and then keep aware for that. And when it happens, go, remember this live stream and think, you know what? I'd be a lot better if I was more cold-blooded, and just sit there and seethe, or even do this. This might be extreme, but it would work. Whatever makes you angry, have a good friend of yours come up to you and say the worst things to your face, just until to the point where you could stand there and take it and not get upset. Because anger is very bad, because you're losing control of yourself and therefore the situation. Do you have any broad thoughts on cryptozoology? No, but I think that a lot of times the natives are a lot smarter than people give them credit for. But that's not particularly insightful. When you were a Cato, was it starting to go off the rails? Not at all. Not at all. In fact, I just found an invitation signed by Jean Kirkpatrick when she declined to go to the 1997 25th anniversary, which I had attended. It was not at all like this. You have instilled a tremendous hate for my poopy Canadian government. How can we best help the truckers honk on? That dog is so cute. I hope that's your dog. I don't know how I would. There's got to be some way to send them money, or just send them. If there's a trucker on YouTube or someone on Facebook, send them like a meal voucher. That's that's such great when a stranger just sends you $20 to have dinner on me. That's great motivation. Have you ever spoken with the streamer Destiny? I have not. I know who he is because of that conversation with Jesse Lee Peterson. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised and actually tickled. I'm sure you're correct, because he was really funny with Jesse. I really enjoyed that. Several objectives I've listened to seem to fall into a weird Aristotle good, Plato bad binary. Is there anything good to take from Platonism? I'm not that familiar with Plato, but everything I know about Plato I don't like. Other than, of course, respect for him being the first systematic philosopher. His achievements are without dispute. Yeah, but Platonism itself, I can't think of anything. I hate it. Oh, no. Wait, hold on. The allegory of the cave is a brilliant allegory. It's not to be taken literally, but does speak to. His conclusion is incorrect, but that's a brilliant allegory. So that's an easy one. But I don't know if that's Platonism per se. What are your priorities for precious metals? I don't have any. I'm sorry. Well, I guess as a Jewish person, it's got to be gold, right? Mr. Malice. Heartfelt. Wrote it. I inspired it. I had a great idea for a question earlier when I started drinking. This is so fun. I'll just say, as a former liberal who can't quite go all the way with conservatives, your takes are a breath of fresh air. Yes, thank you. Thank you. That's really funny. Do you have any independent comic book recommendations? Yes. American Splendor, Black Hole, Zot, off the top of my head. Adrian Tomine, I love his work. Jimmy Corrigan, which I think is probably the most evil book ever written. What makes a comic book good or enjoyable? For me, it's plot. I would say plot, which is not a particularly insightful answer. Been following you since your mock debates on anarchism with Mullen. You freed my mind. Thanks. Thank you. That's very nice. Can't believe the Pope went after Rogan like that. He's way too old for him. I don't know what that means. I would love to drink ayahuasca with you. It will never happen. What about the Elon Musk picture? I just talked about that a second ago. Am I that behind on these chats? Oh, I am behind. Holy crap. Thoughts on Candace Owens' point that local police are being demonized to enable the replacement federal police? She's right. That's at least partly the thing behind it. Are they all irredeemable? No, not at all, not even remotely close. No one's more anti-cop than me, probably, but this cop's not irredeemable. The guy who sent me this. There's lots of cops who are redeemable. All it takes for redemption, assuming you haven't killed anyone, is to just be like, you know what? I've had it, and to speak out against what you've seen. That's it. Very easy. I want to join the Ben Ed praise train. Congratulations on the new life and future, Ben. What a great story. What a great, and this is why I hate that John Oliver, New York Times, just sneering at everything. I mean, the guy quietly in his own house saved his own life. That's just wonderful. Picture taken after a bad haircut. Sue me. Yeah, I know that feel. You mentioned you might become a regular guest on Glenn's radio show. Is that still happening? I was supposed to be on 2 Fridays in a row. It got bumped again to this upcoming Friday. Can you make a podcast with Slava Zizek? I would love to have Zizek as a guest. And I don't know. I'm not familiar with Yanis Varoufakis. I'm not familiar with him. So many people love you and are just glad you're here. Yeah, just I don't have a smart ass answer. Do you understand NFTs yet? Nope. You know why? This is why. Because of this. Because of this. Any chance you could get Dan Carlin the podcast? We would have a great convo. I think he's out of my league in terms of guests, though. Ex-military here. I was thinking today. I was thinking about Afghanistan disaster. How is it this has been forgotten so quickly? You know exactly how. Because it doesn't serve the corporate media narrative. That's it. Same reason that terrorist from Christmas in Nashville is forgotten, right? What about that kid who shot up the school a couple of weeks ago? Is out on parole, on bail, excuse me. Alex teaching you to drive when? I don't think that's going to happen. On locals, there's some of us hoping you'd have Russell Brand here welcome you and his. I would bet money based on nothing. I haven't been reached out to that I will be on his show at some point this year. This is just my guess, given the way my trajectory has been going. Oh, good for you. This is Mexican Dave Smith. Good for you. My sister and my nephews are leaving New York as well, exactly because of this reason. Going for my kids re-COVID was the last straw. Never dreamed I'd ever leave. You're preaching to the choir here, sir. You were inspiration. The Lauren Shen quote, when she said, "Why am I funding my own oppression?" I was like, holy crap, yeah. Thank you for all you do. Much love. Thank you so much. And I still have the you-know-what for when I go in Tim Pool. Just oh God, can we talk about this? Who's texting me? This better not be. The Matrix Resurrections. I finished it. It took me and Blair 4 tries to get through it. It's so bad. I think it was done badly intentionally as a parody of sequels. That's the only way I could reconcile it. It's like Neil Hamburger's stand-up level bad, and the budget was huge, and you know it was one of the people who wrote the original, so you know it's not a complete hack. It was just so bad, so bad. Are you and you and Apollo ever going to get to Kiev? I'm not going to Kiev, so we're going to go to Lvov and either St. Petersburg or Moscow, and it's looking probably like St. Petersburg, if not both. But that's going to happen maybe this summer even. He's going to be here in like a week and a half. I'm so excited to have my bro here. Just a great guy. Will you please have anarchist Mark Passio on from What Earth is Happening? I don't know who. I don't like having people like that on just because they share my politics. No, this guy doesn't have a big. I can't have. If it's someone I haven't heard of, then the audience hasn't heard of it. It really screws me up. Print guns, not money. That's amen, brother. I'm just a working mom. I like your glasses. You got me thinking about anarchy again. Food stamps help people I love. What are the best ideas popular in anarchism now for taking care of elders, children can't care for themselves? I don't know if I don't think at all there's ideas in anarchism that are particularly insightful, but I would just point out that it is only the government that can force nursing homes to take COVID victims into their domicile and kill the elderly and of no consequence to the people who did this, and not to mention a huge cover up by corporate media, which is not at all necessarily per se a government phenomenon. So I don't know that anarchism would be great when you're dealing with people who can't take care of themselves. That's a problem for any situation. But if I had the choice between old people in small apartments and old people being forced to die, and then their kids can't visit them or say goodbye to them for no reason, I hope all of us never forget what they did, what they've taken. Weird question. Thoughts on Chesterton? I just did an episode on him on You're Welcome. It was the Christmas episode, so it was like 4 weeks ago. The guest is Ethan Nicole on You're Welcome, so it's an hour-long discussion. Hey, Michael, what are your thoughts on Larkin Rose? I'm not familiar with his work, although I know he's an anarchist and very big on promoting peace, so I support anyone who does that, of course. Yaron Brook is a corona zombie. ARI is a joke. Okay, I wasn't familiar with his opinions on corona. Do you think Convoy will accomplish anything, or is Trudeau too arrogant and high in power to do the right thing? I think Trudeau's a puppet. He's not bright or talented enough to be coming to these conclusions. I think there's someone pulling his strings, or a group of people. For many of these, like Boris Johnson's another one, who I think is brighter than Trudeau, to be fair. I think what the combo will accomplish is two things. It'll inspire people in other parts of the world, which is very crucial. And I also think it's a great red pilling moment because already, even it's reaching me, how corporate media outlets in Canada are blatantly lying about many elements of the convoy. Someone just forwarded me. I'll read it right now. I'll read it right now. This was so CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation or company, I don't know which, from British Columbia, said that the convoy was going in hopes of bringing awareness to the icy and dangerous road conditions truckers say they've had to deal with this winter season. It's a blatant lie. Now, maybe that screen cap was fake. That's a possibility. But if that was how it was presented, it's ridiculous. But that is a very big red pilling moment. After your last dinner with Joe, Lex, and Alex let it slip on his show that you all thought there will be civil war. I don't think that. I did not say that. So that was not my opinion. What do you think of Solzhenitsyn? I think he's an incredibly, incredibly brave person who did unparalleledly important work. And what's the oh God, this is so funny. Andrew Branca, this old lawyer from I don't know where, keeps coming at me on Twitter, and he's a full-blown boomer and keeps getting his ass handed to me. If you go to my Instagram, there's this really funny one because someone said, oh, would you never call the cops? And I said, well, I had too many dogs, so I called them then, meaning the joke is that the cops shot the dogs. And he goes, see, look at this anarchist hypocrite. When the community said he had too many dogs, the cops took it away. So he might be one of my favorite Twitter buffoons, because when you're that much of a boomer, you keep self-owning. And then he's like, oh, why does Malice keep replying to me? I'm just a small town lawyer. He's threatened by my ideas. It's really, he's my favorite one when he comes for me on Twitter, because I know I can just go ham and he'll be completely oblivious. And then all the commenters like, oh God, dude, please stop. You're just owning yourself. And he doesn't get it. It's really, 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 really fun. Was homeschooled, 10 out of 10 would recommend. And it's also funny because he keeps using like all these zeitgeist words incorrectly, like, oh, grifter, oh, blah, blah, blah. What was some of the other words that they use? Just, those they just float around. They've been told to lack empathy since kindergarten. Do you feel sociopathy is becoming more rife in those around us? No, I think it's becoming less rife, much less, because thanks to social media, when you were a kid, you were the only one in your school. I'm going to do this for another half an hour, then I'm going to bounce because there's a lot of you here. When you were a kid, you were the only one in your school who felt a certain way, and you felt like a freak, and you're made to feel like a freak, and you're also made to feel that if you're a freak, something's wrong with you. And now you go on the internet and you're like, wait a minute, other people agree with me. There's that kid in the other town, that kid in the other town. And all of a sudden, you're seeing things from other people's point of view because we can agree on this politics. Oh, tell me about your life. Tell me about your culture, whatever. So I think sociopathy is decreasing among people, especially who are red pilled. When you learn to drive, will you go on a road trip? Well, I do these road trips all the time, but I don't. Driving to a road trip doesn't sound like I wouldn't be driving. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy driving. Do you have any thoughts on the sex offender registry? I don't. I think this is such a tricky topic, and I'm not particularly insightful on that subject. Do you think in this decade TV will go the same way as telegraph and telephone? So I bought a book on minstrel show jokes, when people put on blackface and they did minstrel show jokes. And one of the best jokes was, what are the 3 ways to spread a message? And the 3 ways were telegraph, telegram, and tell a woman. I don't think but here's the thing, you know how the New York Times or any newspaper went from you buy it every morning, tuck it under your arm, and you read it on the train, and now you read it on your screen. So maybe TV would go away, but the TV outlets like CNN, if it becomes a website only, that's not really going away. But I do think in terms of having 3 silos of information coming out, that's irreversible. So this is why the thing that bothers me when people think, oh, under anarchism, you're just going to have one dictator. Markets do not tend toward monopoly. They tend towards different choices and options, even in something where it is heavily government involvement. I appreciate your genuine care for people, their well-being. It seems rare for people to empathize and recognize people's individual suffering. I think it has to do with being a co-author on several books, because the whole point of co-authoring a book is you're reading, you're experiencing something from someone else's point of view. And when that becomes your job, it spills over into your regular life. I took your advice on not engaging with blue-pilled friends about politics, and it's made life much easier, right? What conceivable benefit would there be? You might convert 1 or 2. It'll be a lot easier if they convert themselves. There are a lot of people listening that don't follow you. How do you engage with normals, neocon conversations? I don't. I don't engage with people. I don't get the point. What happened to all the establishment Gen Xers? I doubt they turned into rural Trumpers. That's a great question. George Carlin, of course, was an amazing person and comedian. No filter and no makeup. Oh, I'm wearing makeup. I'm in full face. Still looks fabulous. I'll be purchasing Sheath because of you. And where in the world is Trudeau? Well, he should be in Gitmo, as we know. Nearly done. Anarchist Handbook, loving it. My wife is in the process of self-publishing a novel she wrote during the early stages of the pandemic. Can you offer her any advice? Yes, don't get your hopes up, because even if a publisher puts out a novel, many of them sell not even 100 copies. So she has to ask herself, what is the purpose of this? And the purpose is simply so I have my book on my shelf. That's extremely admirable. Given your zoological interest, do you have any thoughts on the Sasquatch question? It's been a fun rabbit hole for me to go down. I asked Alex about this when he was on my show. This is one, and he goes, no. He says, no, it's not real, because we'd be finding their bones. These are huge bones that would be left behind, and that's really a great answer, and one I agree with. How's the succulent farm going? Oh, I'm not going to graft. No. Anything strange and unusual? I'm having it's kind of cold, so I had to bring him in from the deck, and I just figured out a way to have to deal with the wind gusts in Texas. I'm going to get little carts, and then I can bring him into the house. But I just bought a huge boojum tree, which is, for those who don't know what it is, look it up. They're amazing. So it's really fun. I've been going through transformation recently and embraced positivity wholeheartedly for myself and others. Thank you for inspiring me with your encouraging words and personal success. Good. And if people want to roll their eyes at you or sneer, get rid of them. They're poison. I'm going to move to Austin just to hopefully meet you and Lex one day. Good luck with that. I like your hair a lot. Yaroslav. Clever. Thoughts on having Jesse James? Is that the one who was married to the girl from Speed? Isn't he? I don't really. I was up for doing it for co-authoring his book. I think years ago. Wait, there's somebody else named Jesse James. Is that who I'm thinking of? I do it all remotely, so it wouldn't really matter that they're here. You know. Ever since Rittenhouse case, I've been following Rakita Law. What are the odds of him being on your podcast or you being on his live show? I don't know that I would be on his live show because I tend not to have time to do that. But having him on your welcome seems like a pretty easy one to do. Didn't realize both super chats went through. You're popular tonight. Happy Chinese New Year. Konnichiwa. $50. Wow. That's amazing. My BoomerCon mom and I were at a bit at odds of solutions. I began the intro with your Beck interview on The Blaze, then gifted her the new right. She called me immediately after. Thank you. Jay, yeah, it's your mom. I think you're a queer. That's how the phone call went after reading the new right. What do you think about Epstein connection with Eric Weinstein? I have not followed through on that, and I would absolutely be sure, barring an abundance of evidence, that Eric did not do anything bad. Is there any topic where you would say you are blue-pilled? I don't know. That's a good one. Would I know it if I was, right? I don't know. I off the top of my head, I can't think of any. You need to fact check your interview with Count Dankula. So much fake news, it's unreal. Typical Tory. Have you met Brandon Herrera? Why does that name sound familiar? Not to my knowledge. No, I have not. Oh, that he seems really cool. Did he kill? I hope he hasn't killed someone. Like, yeah, you're just gonna pull the clip of me saying that. He seems really cool. If more people red pilled, would that lead to more people supporting populist leftists like Bernie Sanders? Yes, I would say so. Most certainly. The only thing I know, okay, Jim, these jokes don't work in writing. Boomer. Hundreds of thousands of children in third world countries died from starvation due to the COVID lockdowns. Millions more suffered malnutrition, leading to permanent damage, spread the world. They don't care. They just drone struck a bunch of kids over the summer, and no one even had to apologize, let alone get fired. They don't value the lives of children. Why are so many libertarians just anarchists in disguise? I don't think that's true at all. Were people in Plato's caves first recorded NPCs? That's a good question. Are they NPCs? I don't know if they are NPCs. They're trying to get to the truth, so I don't think they're NPCs. We've been doing mini convoys all over Canada's major cities this weekend. People are waking up after Ottawa. The truck. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. This is the thing. This is okay. So this is what I wanted. I made this point before, and I want to point it out to you guys again. Because a lot of conservatives, one year they'll be like, the progressives are pushing Muslim immigration. Oh, Muslims are bad. The next year it's transgender bathroom. Oh, transgenders are bad. They don't care about Muslim and transgender people. They have a toolbox. They will grab any group that they want. And as soon as that group is useless, it goes thrown in the garbage, and they're white supremacists. Truckers, like blue collar union people for years were the backbone of the Democratic Party. The Labour Party, which is the main like center left party in Britain, as opposed to the Tories, are called Labour. And the second that they're like, screw you, they're the devil. And it's with any group, they do not value that group. They only value them as a means to further their agenda. The white pill can melt steel beams. Fact. Douglas Murray was great on the pod. Will he return? Oh, I'm sure next time he has a book out. Do you think it's harder for a girl to find a good husband or a guy to find a good wife? This is kind of heteronormative. I would. Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. I gotta tell you, no, I was okay. I'm gonna sit here till I think of this. I was gonna say there's a lot of horrible women, but there's a lot of horrible men. I think it's harder to find a good wife, I would guess, because I think most guys or more guys want to be men work with other people better than women in general. So in a partnership, the guy is going to be more easygoing often than the woman. But this is a very rough. There's plenty of great women and great men. ETA on getting Tom Woods on Cash Cab. That's his big announcement. TomWoodsAnnouncement.com. He's going to be on Cash Cab. Any chance on having Mark Ripito in person now that you and he are on the same state? I don't think that's going to happen. I might have Antoine Vaillant on. I'd have to ask him. We meet him chat on Instagram. Have you become more or less white-pilled since the start of the pandemic? More, by far. Although that's not, I'm not saying what's happening is good. I'm saying I'm more optimistic about victory. Thoughts on Canadian truckers? I talked about that earlier. Spent the last 2 years looking for a chair that would be comfortable for more than 12 hours a day. Found that getting out of it more often was the cheapest answer. That's sage advice. Thoughts on decentralized democracy? No, I'm not interested in any kind of democracy. I don't care what my neighbors think about my life. Zero interest. Any names picked out for your first gun? Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I'll have to ask the dear readers that. That's a great question. That's a great question. If you were 21 years old again, what would you do? Eat more. I'm serious. That would be my answer. I'd eat more. Was homeschooled by great parents that care about me? Probably the best thing to happen to me. Yeah, that is the best thing that happened to you. Like, I'm not even kidding. They organized the Ottawa protest. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Have enough funds to keep the trucks there for 2 to 4 years. Thanks for doing the Lord's work and Godspeed. Amen. Amen. Have you read any Hitchens? I started reading Hitch 22 and I couldn't get into it. I did read Letters to a Young Contrarian, which I didn't particularly love. Lots of Hebrew cowboys. I've got a hat rack and boot jack. Hebrew. I'm not Hebrew. For your new house, need address. If you go to michaelmalice.com/contribute, you have my PO box there. When will you have the trigonometry guys on? That's not a bad idea. That's a really good idea. I'm gonna write that down. I really enjoyed my conversation with them. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do this for another 10 minutes, then I'm gonna bounce. Matrix Resurrection was really bad. Being all like pals who saw it got COVID. That's funny. There is no such thing as a libertarian socialist, just tankies in denial. You're completely wrong. Emma Goldman, who is one of the heroes of the white pill, was a libertarian socialist, and she was not at all a tanky. What are your thoughts on Ethan Nicole and others leaving the B after the Musk interview? I don't know that I have thoughts. I know Frank left soon after that for different reasons. I still don't know, and I don't that why Ethan got canned. I adore Ethan, so I don't have any particular insight into this. I think it's if I Hope Ethan's got great kids. He's a great dude, very talented. So I hope he lands on his feet if he hasn't already. And I love the bee, of course. You are the best ambassador for liberty today. Well, I don't know about that, but I appreciate the sentiment. NFTs are certificates of authenticity for art that exists on the blockchain, like crypto itself. You are welcome. I still don't understand what that is. CBC screen cap wasn't fake. Wow. Thank you. CBC, CTV, and Global News have claimed everything short of terrorism at the convoy. Also, Trudeau isn't a puppet, but he wants to be liked by globalists worldwide. I don't believe that Trudeau isn't getting. I'm saying, like, you know how Dick Cheney had a lot of influence on George Bush? I'm sure Trudeau has something like that, someone in his ear. And how could he not? Every prime minister, every president, has advisors, both formally and informally. I'm in Austin. Can I give you a copy of my novel? I'm not going to read it. I have no time, especially to read fiction. How likely is it that the trucker protest leads to any policy change? It depends on what happens, because there's a non-zero chance things are going to escalate in a bad way, which I'm hoping they do not. Maybe we are actually girls. You mean like Blair? No. Can you shout out my brother's podcast? What the hell is the kind of name? Is that like Karen backwards? A video. A video of Jared Taylor came up on YouTube autoplay, and I immediately knew it was solely based on the New Right audiobook. Well done. And by the way, I approve of nominal determinism. Nicole means victory of the people. The idea in this day and age that Hitlerism would be a model for America is simply fantastic. Looking good, Mr. Malice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Cop a 3D printer, you'll love it. That's not a bad idea. Have you read Fear No Evil? He was a Russian Jewish refugees who was tortured. I have read that's a great recommendation. I think I've read enough about the tortures to last me for quite some time. Maybe after no, I'm not going to read it. And after the North Korea stuff. Andrew Branca was a New Yorker. He's a riot on Rakita Law after hours, especially after he drinks and lets his guard down. Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. Love from India. Your views. Is that a rat smoking? Your views and anarchism are truly something. Genuinely wish you got a bigger audience so that they become mainstream in my country too. That's true. If anyone can use more liberty, I think India most certainly can. And I think it's one of the things I have against the alt-right. If you read the book, what's something called Camp of the Saints, and it's kind of this very racist thing that the Indians are going to come over and ruin all these countries in the West. And it's like, what are they doing? There's tech support now. As far as in terms of immigrants who are deleterious to a culture, I think Indians are going to be pretty far down on that list if you're going to play that game. Okay. You and Alex Jones are blue-pilled on Sasquatch. That's what the globalists want you to believe. What do you do with people who have an IQ of 25 or lower? Let them die? 25 or lower, I don't even know what that would look like. I mean, that's someone who's not, they have no bladder control, right? Because even someone who's profoundly disabled is going to have like 50. So I don't even, is 25 IQ even viable? What would that look like? I think when you're like it's severe mental disability. I think at that level, it's hard to test IQ. What do? You do there's no good answer. I don't say let them die. It's certainly not my place to say that. Trees don't have an IQ. Would you say tear down all trees? Birds don't have it. You're going to kill all the birds? It's a human being. What is the best way to understand why monopolies on violence have been near universal in history? That's a great question. Bandwagoning. If something has been effective in one, and they haven't been near universal, though. That's not the case. The nation state is fairly relatively recently. So I don't think that that's the case at all. But why do people have governments? I think in many cases, hierarchy is natural. I do think there's something to the big man theory of how governments have been created. And also, you have an incentivized, intelligent minority will always outcompete an unintelligent, mindless majority. So but it's a very complicated, long discussion that I don't know that I'm particularly insightful or informed enough to answer. Low Beach Konnichiwa is Japanese, not Chinese. Oh, how embarrassing for me. And painting hair into your gray makes you more safe. YouTube vanity you have not. iTube is vanity play. Well said. How could getting red pilled lead to more Bernie supporters? Because Bernie is not a Democrat. He just coalitions with them. Red pill does not mean small government. Red pilled is understanding that what is presented as fact by the corporate press is in reality a carefully constructed narrative designed to keep some very unpleasant people in power. So the Bernie supporters who are anti-war, like a lot of Bernie people really, really hate Hillary, and it's impossible for people on the right to understand this because they see her correctly as like the left at its worst, the collusion between the New York Times and the military to have warmongering. My girl thinks that's a painting of Johnny Cash in the background. What do you think of that? I don't think you have a girl. Is there a recent episode with you and Thad Russell? Yeah, sneaky Thad recorded an episode with me, then put it behind a paywall and didn't tell me he released it. Are you a fan of IRA hero Michael Collins? I am not. I don't know him at all, but I'm not a big IRA person, to put it mildly, although they will be in the white pill briefly. Okay, I'm just gonna do a few more and then I'm out of here. Did you get to meet Elon Musk? We didn't really talk at all. I hate that stuff. You got to play it cool. I'm pretty cool. It's been a few months since your show with Jesse Peterson put my mom's abuse of me into perspective. Been a hell of a journey for the better, as suggests that I lean more into the black flag. Thank you, Dinocide. I appreciate it. Have him make you a dope AK for your first gun. That sounds like a great idea. Hey, Chase, top 3 favorite films. Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's so tough. American Beauty's up there. Amelie is up there. Bad Santa is up there. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is up there. Those are Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Johnny Depp one is up there. Those are The Incredibles. Paris is Burning. Those might be a good short list. I'm missing some big ones, I'm sure. Okay, I'm just gonna do 2 more and then I'm gonna bounce. I'm a paleo libertarian, and yet I love your work at Emma Goldman, Mikhail Bakunin. I've been blasting both the left and right lately. It feels funny. Good. They're great people, though flawed. Okay, last question. Okay, let me see. Hey, Michael, do you have any advice for the truckers in Canada? Do you think there's any hope for Canada, or are they a lost cause, in your opinion? I think Canada might be a lost cause in the near future. Do I have any advice for the truckers in Canada? The advice I would have, and I don't think I'm going to go, is don't forget that if they had their way, they would kill you all and laugh about it. So realize who you're up against. These are not people who are negotiating good faith or who value your life, and proceed accordingly. Okay, guys, thank you so much for all the questions. I'll try to do these more recently than, more frequently than every other month. White pill, let me give you an update on page count. It's probably gonna be 300 total. Right now we're at, I'll tell you what page we're up to. We're at page 84 out of 300, so that's like a quarter. Oh, I really want to read this. Okay, I'll read it another time. Thank you so much for the support, and I hope I'll see you all at malice.locals.com. And this week we got uh um uh Kenny versus, oh wait, this one. My girlfriend needs to know your reasoning behind women not getting along as well as men. She answered her own question. Have a good night, everybody.